Hi there. Welcome to the shop. I'm Cale. Hey, so it's been about a year since we moved into this new place here in Parker and set up our shop here. So I thought maybe today would be a good opportunity to kind of do a walk around, show you some of the things we got in the shop going on, show you some projects, some tools, and give you an idea of what to expect from future videos coming out of Dansbee Design. So hope you'll join us. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please consider subscribing. We release videos as often as I can. They tend to be based on projects that are happening in the shop at the moment. And hopefully you find it useful. And if you do, please consider liking and subscribing. And don't forget to share with other people to help the channel grow. So let's move around and take a look. I'll show you some tools in the shop. We're going to start over there with the laser. So let's get there next. All right, so first and foremost, here's my carbon dioxide CO2 based laser engraver and laser cutter. This particular model is, who cares about the model number? It's about 28 inches long by about 20 inches wide. That's the size that it can laser engrave and laser cut. It has been modified. This was originally intended to be a 55 watt laser, and I've actually put a 100-watt laser in it. So what that means is it allows me to engrave and cut deeper than I normally could. So you're probably going to see a lot of videos that use some kind of laser engraving or laser cutting, whether it's wood or plastic, acrylic, expanded PVC. I cut a lot of different things with this. So that's our first stop on the shop tour. So it is interesting to point out that I'm not sponsored by anyone. Everything you see in this shop is tools and equipment that we've purchased directly for our own woodworking purposes. People have commented on my love of Milwaukee tools before. It's not necessarily a love of Milwaukee tools. It's a love of having all of the same kind of stuff. So I don't have 55 different kinds of batteries and a bunch of other stuff. And honestly, I'm not even that fond of battery powered tools anymore. If I get the chance, I will often just use a plug-in tool, which the cabinets up here are almost entirely full of plug-in tools that I use on a regular basis. So don't think that I'm sponsored by Milwaukee because I have a bunch of their tools. It's really just a commitment to consistency. All right, moving on. Here's the rigid jointer. I really like this. If you're not familiar with the concept of a jointer, let me just move this camera out of the way. If you're not familiar with the concept of a jointer has a spinning blade and helps you to develop one or two completely dead flat edges, which is necessary for getting parallel cuts. So for example, in a piece of wood stock, I might run something like this through to get a flat edge here, and then lay it down and pass it over the jointer again until I get another flat edge. Now I have a 90-degree angle, and that I can use on the table saw to give me parallel cuts on a piece of wood. This particular jointer is fairly affordable from Home Depot. I did upgrade to a helical cutting head, and I'm going to zoom in here just to show you what that looks like a little bit before we move on. All right, so typically the blades on one of these would be straight knife blades that are the width of this distance here. But in this case, it's a helical cut that gives you better performance, smaller chips. It doesn't tend to clog up the dust collection. When you have a blade that's this long, that's essentially cutting a scoop out of wood, it ends up creating a chip of wood that's about this wide and about that long, and that can very quickly overwhelm the dust collection. So having something like this with individual teeth that are angled allows to make smaller chips, so the dust collection works a little more efficiently. It's also quieter, oddly enough, and I think gives superior cutting. One of the nice things about this kind of tool is that you can loosen this screw, and there's actually 4 different cutting edges on these blades, and you probably can't see it, but they're all indexed with a little dot. So you can loosen it and turn them a quarter of a turn and have a whole new set of brand new sharp blades. So pretty cool upgrade. All right, so next up is one of my favorite tools. Absolutely love this bandsaw. I've had it for quite a while. Bought it from Rockler. It's a Laguna 1412. 1412 really just talks about how much room there is from here to here in order to fit a piece of material through it, and how tall you can go to fit something through it. So it's kind of a mid-range level tool, but I keep a pretty heavy-duty resaw blade in it, made by Laguna, that works really well. Had nothing but great success with this particular tool. I love having a bandsaw. It's something that scares Melanie, my wife, quite a bit. I'm not quite sure why. But I mean, all of these things have blades that can hurt you, and things that make a lot of noise, and things that spin. So I get it that it's kind of scary and takes some getting used to be around this kind of stuff. But this particular one has I got rid of the fence that came with it because it's just kind of jinky, and I didn't really like it. So this is really just a series of really powerful magnets. It's made by Carter Tools. I think they make exceptional tools. Allows me to really set it wherever I want, set the magnets, and it does not move. All of these tools are connected to a 5-inch dust collection system that you can see around here. Sometimes people do 4-inch dust collection, 5-inch, 6-inch. I'm not sure why there's all of that utility or selection and choice. It makes it really hard to buy all of these connecting pipes and get everything to fit. But ultimately, all of this dust collection goes to our next stop on the shop tour. All right, so next up on the tour of the shop is this Harvey Woodworking Tools G700 dust processor. It's a different kind of take on dust collection because it uses these twin screw turbine blades. If you could see through this, you'd see that there's a kind of a conical shaped thing in here where all of the larger wood chips get stopped in this section and fall into a bucket. I'll show you that in a minute. All of the finer dust gets caught by this particular set of collectors and falls into a different bin, and then the rest of it goes out through these individual filters that also have a capture bin on the bottom. So let me just show you what it looks like when you open it up. Pretty easy to keep it clean. I've really liked it so far. I've had this for I don't know, almost a year now. So you got a big bin here for collecting all of your larger pieces, smaller bin here for the finer dust, and then all of your HEPA stuff under about 1 micron goes through that filter. I put it up on this short tabletop because I didn't like trying to empty it when it was on the ground and try to keep it clean underneath. So if you're wondering why I have it up on a table, that's why. So it does have an alarm on it that goes off when the dust collection starts to get too full, although I tend to overwhelm it pretty quickly, and then it's chirping at me while I'm running tools and I don't hear it. So I'm not sure that's a very good feature, but it is a feature. Anyway, I love this dust collector. I don't think I could say enough good things about it. It's quiet. It's very effective. It services all 10 or 12 of my tools using a 5-inch metal pipe throughout the shop. And it hasn't so much as hiccuped yet in the year that I've been using it. So very thrilled with it. Okay, moving on to our big chip maker, which is the X-Carve Pro CNC. Okay, so here we are at the Inventables X-Carve Pro CNC. It's a 4-foot by 4-foot CNC with about a 4.5-inch gantry height, which is how high this bit can go up. So I can fit something like this walnut cookie under here to flatten. I built a table for it that's actually on very heavy duty 650 pound each rolling casters that have soft rubber stops that allow me to level the table. This is actually a parking garage that I'm working out of, so it's sloped downhill for water drainage, which makes it hard to have level power tools. So it is, the table is angled up to level it, and the CNC is also leveled up as well. So love this machine. Again, had it for a couple of years now. Been using it extensively. Things do break on it. Things are going to break on everything. Every tool you have, something's going to break somewhere. So can't really beat up the vendor for having, problems with it from time to time. But I get parts, it gets repaired, and we're right back up and running. As you can see, I've kind of Frankensteined my way into my own 4 or 5 inch dust collection. More upgrades coming for this, so I'll post a video once I get the parts for that. But anyway, I use this for everything from flattening slabs to cutting cabinets. You'll see over on the Capex crosscut saw station that it's on a set of wooden cabinets. Those cabinets were entirely made on the X-Carve, including pre-drilling the holes for hinges, handles, drawer slides, everything. All I did was put the plywood in there, run the program to make cabinets at the dimensions that I wanted, and then assemble them. So pretty cool. Anyway, this is by far the largest piece of equipment in my shop. It does eat up a lot of space, but it's also the ultimate utility tool. There really isn't much you cannot do with a CNC. In fact, you're probably going to see some focus videos coming out from me fairly soon on deep diving on the CNC. I get a lot of questions about why did I pick this one? What's the difference between this one and somebody else's? What should I do with a CNC? What can I do? What can I make? So probably going to deep dive on some videos to dig into that a bit deeper. So you can see I got a lot of bits, a lot of hold down stuff, a lot of tools. Not as clean and organized as I'd like it to be, but also not horrible. So let's move on, and the tour continues. All right, so here's the Capex crosscut saw workstation I was telling you about. So these are the drawers that I designed and built, including soft close, entirely with the CNC. Pretty cool. This top surface is something called expanded PVC. I hadn't had a lot of experience with it. It's basically like PVC pipe, but it's in sheet form. So you can CNC route it, you can cut grooves in it, you can drill it, glue it. And so I chose to make my crosscut top out of this because I could embed this ruler system and these tracks, and I just used some HDPE to create these stops on either end that allow me to go to about 55 inches either side of the saw. So works really well. I really like this saw a lot. It's probably one of the more expensive crosscut saws that you can buy, and there are some saws that do things better than this one does. But I don't think I'm a Festool snob, but I do like tools that perform the way they're supposed to. And this is definitely one of those cases where it gives me the ability to do multiple angles, including the ability to do compound angles, which I like a lot. There's a works really well, has these hold downs that you can use for holding material in place. Overall, great saw. I don't think I could make anything out of wood without having something like this. Couple of project pieces in work. These were things that were made on the laser, if you remember that from earlier in the video. So this is 5 pieces of Baltic birch plywood that I created a design and individually cut each of the 5 layers and then glued it together. And so I'm going to fill this with resin. Maybe. I've tried that once and it didn't work out very well. Anyway, the goal is to use one of these flowy line metal bases. Really like their bases a lot. Another example of a table that we designed. We call it the moon table. It's kind of a multi-layer piece, a little European styling maybe. Ultimately supposed to be made out of cherry. So this is the crosscut, Capex crosscut workstation. You can see we've got some racks on the shelf over here. We got a lot of clamps, keep a lot of our dried hardwoods up out of the way so we can work, and the tour moves on. All right, so as you can see, the shop is really made up of a series of islands that allows me to walk all the way around things. So I have drawers and cabinets over here, drawers and cabinets over there, dust collection buried underneath. This is our Harvey woodworking table saw. It has some of the optional capabilities that Harvey sells, but not all of them. I did opt for the router table built in with the nice fence system, which honestly, I don't really, it looks cool, but I don't really use it to the maximum extent that you can. I use the router a lot, but basically I just need a flat fence. So it's a good table. It's your basic cabinet, professional grade cabinet table saw. It's got a nice fence system. It's dead flat level. It's level with the assembly table that we have over there. So in terms of moving around and pushing material through it and not having it fall off on the floor, that it works really well. So probably going to see a lot of videos having to do with this particular table saw because there's just a lot of capability built into it. So, and the tour moves on. All right, can't really have much of a shop without a drill press, and this is just your basic jet drill press. There's not much to get excited about. It is variable speed controlled. There's a series of pulleys up here. You can adjust the belt and allows you to drill holes. So it's very heavy, very hard to move around, and sits in the middle of this island because I kind of need to be able to move all the way around it. All right, next up is this Tormek T4 sharpening system. Sometimes I get a hankering to sharpen all of the tools in my shop at once, and then it's really nice to have this tool. This tool came with a bunch of different attachments that attach to these bars that allow you to sharpen everything from scissors to chisels to multi-angled blades, kitchen knives. I've sharpened our kitchen knives out here. It's got this series of multiple leather wheels that I can put stropping material on. It helps me get a nice final edge on things. It is water-based, so this is a water stone. So fill up this pan with water, let it turn for a while till until the stone gets coated and wet, and then you can attach a variety of different kinds of attachments to sharpen different things. It even comes with this base that allows you to turn the machine around so you can work from, with the wheel spinning this way, you can work from the back edge also with the stropping compound. Definitely a very cool tool. I like it a lot. When I'm in the mood to sharpen all of my fairly high-end chisels, not much is more rewarding than getting a super sharp chisel and knowing that you've got the skills to sharpen it. So probably make some videos using this guy as well. And the tour moves on. All right, the final two tools I want to go over are, well, I guess there's a third tool hanging above me here. I don't even know if you can see it. I'll back out the camera so you can see it. So this is a planer. This has the same helical head that I showed you in the jointer earlier. So rather than having these really long, flat blades that make huge chips and a ton of noise, this guy actually has one big, round, helical-shaped cutter head from the same Shelix company. Makes this machine very quiet. And also very accurate. I do like my digital gauges. I tend to use them on everything that I can. If I want a board that's 10 millimeters thick, I can set this to 12 millimeters and pass material through and go down incrementally, taking off material, watching the screen until I get to my 10 millimeters. Then I can measure that with a caliper, and it's nice having that level of accuracy. You'll see I have the same thing with the drum sander. This one was a little trickier to figure out how to put in place because it's not really designed to have a digital readout put on it, but it does work really well. And again, when I want to sneak up on a final dimension of 2 inches in thickness, I can start with 2 1/4 or 2 1/8 inches, and then watch this go down as I lower the sander head to get to that final measurement. So ultimately, I wish when I bought this big sander that I had bought a 220 volt version. This is a 110 volt motor, and it gets overwhelmed pretty quickly with this much sanding head. So most of my other tools in here are 220. This one unfortunately is 110, and it makes it kind of underpowered. What that means is I have to take little bitty tiny bites. It is a 2550, which means that there's a 25-inch sanding head inside, and you can pass a piece of material through this way that's up to 50 inches wide and then rotate it and pass it through again. And because there's nothing holding it up on this end, you can have more material sticking out up to 50 inches. And this has been dialed in and adjusted by me to get to just the right tilt such that I don't get lines when I sand pieces that are wider than 25 inches. All right, so I think that's it for the tools. I'm going to back up and just show you the air filter. Nothing super amazing, but I don't have the healthiest lungs in the world, and I'm also allergic to most hardwoods. So, yeah, I know you're thinking, why the heck are you a woodworker? It's a good question. But anyway, keeping the air clean is important to me. That's why my sanders are Festool and use HEPA-based vacuum cleaners. That's why my Capex crosscut saw has its own HEPA dust collection and cleaner. The Harvey is a sub 1 micron level dust collector, and this is a 2-stage filter that helps keep the air clean. So ultimately, it helps keep me healthier and helps keep me making woodworking projects and woodworking videos for a longer period of time. All right, so in terms of keeping things clean around here, it wouldn't be fair to leave out the ultimate workhorse in the shop, which is this fairly simple floor sweep from Oneida Systems. Basically, it allows me to turn on the dust collector, open this particular port, and start cleaning up the shop by sweeping everything onto the floor and then using a push broom to sweep everything into this dust sweep and then shut everything down for the night. So pretty cool feature, and all I had to do was include this floor sweep and one more blast gate and a bit more hose. So ultimately, super glad that I put this right in the middle of the shop so I can sweep up easier and again keep the place clean. All right, so there you have it. That's basically the tools that are in the shop, kind of the layout of how we got going, what we've got going on, the island concept that so far seems to be working pretty well, and yes, everything in here has been moved around so many times that my wife and I refer to this as the sliding tile game, because nothing ever seems to be in the right place. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it useful and helpful. Again, if you like this kind of content, please consider liking and subscribing. And like I said, I'll probably be making a lot more deep dive videos on why I chose this X-Carve from Inventables, how I use it, what kind of things you can use it for, as well as probably some deep dives on some of the other tools that I have to help the new homeowner, the recently discovered do-it-yourselfer, learn how to use these tools to make cool stuff for themselves and for other people. So that's it for me, friends. Until next time, peace, love, and sawdust. I'm out.